Hello everyone, welcome to Reading with Reference this week. My name is Kim Christopher. I'm a reference librarian with the Haverford Township Free Library. And to any new viewers, this video series is where we talk about the things that we have read recently and share them with you as reading recommendations. So with that in mind, the first thing I have to recommend today is the manga series Chainsaw Man by Tatsuki Fujimoto. And this has a peculiar premise, and yet one that creates an engrossing story as you read, where we're introduced to Denji, this young man who's deep in debt to the Yakuza, to the point that he's selling his own body parts to pay off his debt. But the primary way that Denji makes money to pay off his debt, other than selling his body parts, that is by hunting and killing devils and demons, alongside his devil partner Pochita, who comes in the form of a cute little puppy with a chainsaw on his forehead. But unfortunately, one day, just after meeting with the Yakuza to try and clear his debt, that is, Denji is murdered by them as they've made a contract themselves with the devil, and part of that contract, to get power and whatnot, involves killing Denji. But Denji, instead of dying, he's resurrected by his devil partner Pochita, and comes back from the dead in this sort of monster form, as the cover shows, with a chainsaw for his head and chainsaw for his arms and hands. But, well, Denji, he just uses his ability to slaughter the Yakuza and the devil they made a contract with to clear his debt and, save the world from evil demon and whatnot. And as a result of his actions, he gets noticed. The government takes notice of him and drafts him into service to hunt down and kill devils, in official capacity. But also they have the ulterior motive that, seeing how powerful it is, they hope that one day he will be able to find and kill the most powerful demon of them all, perhaps the devil himself even, the Gun Devil. And just based on the premise, this is, as the story unfolds and everything, it just creates this sort of all-out action fest that I would highly recommend if you're a fan of action manga series, but also if you love the Bleach manga series by Tite Kubo, because although the action scenes throughout Chainsaw Man are much more bloody and violent than Bleach, to say the least, the artwork of the action sequences in coordination with the story, it just grabs onto you from the very start. It doesn't let go. You have to keep reading until the very last page of the story arc, the chapter, the entire volume, just to see how these fight scenes end, how they'll unfold, who will come out victorious, that is. And so yeah, I highly recommend reading Chainsaw Man for fans of action, but more importantly, if you love Bleach, then you will love Chainsaw Man. And then the second book here I have to recommend today, moving along, is the book The Bookseller of Florence by Ross King. And this is something that I would highly, highly recommend for fans of history, and also if you wanted to learn something about the Renaissance, even just a little bit, as although Ross King is examining roughly part of the 15th century in Florence, Italy, as well as the life of one Vespasiano da Bisticci, hope I got that name right, a bookseller, hence the title here. He leaves no stone unturned. He just researches everything with such painstaking and caring detail that when you're reading it, you feel like you're living through the 15th century in Renaissance period. Everything about Bookseller Florence, all the details in this book, it is just amazing, just how Ross was able to assemble just this detailed story about all the bibliophiles of the Renaissance, as well as all the other people that they interacted with, be they politicians, nobles, common peasants, or clergymen, just, again, anything you want to know about the Renaissance, even if it's just a century of the history, a tiny part of the Renaissance. Bookseller Florence, I highly recommend reading this for fans of history again, and just to know something about the Renaissance. You just get so engrossed in reading this, you can't put it down. You'll read it from page 1 all to the very end in just a single day. It is just that great of a nonfiction read, and so yeah, I highly, highly recommend reading The Bookseller of Florence. And then finally, the last recommendation today I have is Mermaid Saga by Rumiko Takahashi. And in this story, it's one where Takahashi is an author that reinvents the genre, that is, the fantasy genre, and mermaids in this case, where in Japan, there's this story, an old story, that if one were to consume the flesh of a mermaid, then you would become immortal for all intents and purposes. And, well, unfortunately, for those who do find a mermaid, either just, by hunting for one, or one that washes ashore, or the like, they find out that this myth, unfortunately, comes with risk, that one does not always become immortal, as you can either die a really terrible death, or you become a disfigured, monstrous creature that have become known as lost souls, as they lose all sense of their humanity and just become, well, monsters. And this is where it introduces the character of Yuta, one of those very few fortunate individuals who, after eating the mermaid flesh without knowing about the myth, becomes immortal. And Mermaid Saga, in its very short 16-chapter run, sadly, it follows Yuta's journey to try and, well, find a way to become mortal again, as Mermaid Saga packs a lot of themes about mortality in here, as it shows just the struggle of an immortal being to try and deal with all the loss and grief of, well, living while everyone else dies. Sort of like in the style of the Highlander, just this immortal person who's always alone and always trying to find a way to escape this curse of immortality. And so, yeah, this is one, it is just an absolutely gorgeous, beautiful, dark fantasy story that I would recommend for fans of dark fantasy. And also, if you are someone who likes authors that reinvent the genres, as Takahashi just really threw everything out of the window and just went against all the typecasts, because, well, I can't say too much without spoiling anything about the story, but let's just say that the mermaids in Mermaid Saga are not those sort of angelic beings that we view them as, like, per se, in The Little Mermaid, as they're, well, very vicious in Mermaid Saga. But yeah, that's all I can say without spoiling it. But yeah, highly recommend this for fans of dark fantasy and everyone, and those who like authors that reinvent genres. Takahashi just did an absolutely wonderful job with creating this, sadly, again, short run on a reinvention of the mermaid myth. And that's everything I have in terms of recommendations today, all I have to say about them. And until we see each other again, please know the library is open. The hours are still the same, though, that they were when they were closed, where it's Monday through Wednesday, 10 to 8, Thursday, 10 to 6, and Friday, Saturday, 10 to 5. At the moment, we do have some computer terminals open for use, only 2, though, but you can call ahead, reserve a computer terminal, or come into the library. If it's not in use, you can use it. Either use the passes that we have at the circulation desk, or use your Delaware County Library card to sign in. It's a 40-minute session for using the computers. If you're also in here to browse the collections, check items out, we ask that it be about a 30-minute browsing session. 15 people at a time in the building, so based on that, you may or may not have to wait a few minutes. And yes, we also still have the option for contactless pickup. If you still do not feel comfortable coming to the library, just either fill out the form on the library website or request items on the library catalog. Call us ahead of time to arrange an appointment or time to come pick up the items, and we will leave them out in the parking lot for you at the time to grab and go. And that's everything I have for announcements. And until we see each other again, everyone, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and please do take care.